सही है।
अरे आईसीटी लेना
कॉल किया अनुभव? तिवारी बैठा है।
कौन बैठा है?
तिवारी।
मिसेस तिवारी हाँ जाओ
मुंशी का
क्या सीट रोकिंग चल रहा है।
मैसेज अच्छा दिख रहा है। अनुभव
आप बात कर
ये वार्ड गोइंग सेवा बंद है
क्या
मतलब क्या ब्लैक ब्लैक पहना है।
आप यहाँ बैठे हैं उधर कहाँ चले उधर ही आ रहा हूँ तेरी
स्टैंड है यार मेरे पास। स्टैंड
बोला तो था संकेत बहन है।
सर के पहना विवेक स्टैंड है तुम्हारे पास? स्टैंड
सर इज कमिंग। मैम 100 प्लस रजिस्टर्ड यहाँ पे तो कितना है? आई थिंक 50 मे बी आई डोंट
एक ग्रुप में मैसेज डालो ना किसी के पास स्टैंड है तो। कौन बैठा है? यहाँ से ठीक पता
सीट है कहाँ लेके? इस पे कौन है ये?
वंशिका ये वंशिका ये बैठे वहाँ पे बैठे हुए। अरे यार डिस्टर्ब क्या रहा यहाँ पे रखा है। थोड़ा सा हटना भाई देखना यहाँ पे पूरा नहीं आ रहा है ना उधर नहीं आ रहा
इसके ऊपर रखना पड़ेगा।
उधर आ रहा है कट रहा है ऐसे कट रहा है उधर रख उस
यहीं रखे ना सीट कहाँ रखे थे?
तिवारी
ये बैठ रखता हूँ मुझे यहाँ पे रखना पड़ेगा बार बार कोऑर्डिनेट करके।
सुन ना
या तुम इस पे रखो सीट मुझे कहाँ बैठे वहाँ पे बैठ जाओ। नहीं बैठ जाओ बनती नहीं है उसके बाद कहाँ बैठे हुए ठीक है हैं उधर बैठ जाओ
तिवारी
तुमसे
उस सीपीयू पे रख
हाँ देख लो आगे तुम वहीं रख देना तुम जहाँ बैठोगे वहीं रखोगे
वहाँ से मैं देखता हूँ वहाँ से
तुम देखो मुझे पता नहीं है
वहाँ से बस रखो मैं बता रहा हूँ
नहीं हटो जरा आगे से।
Excuse me, everyone please log in to IIPS user, go to other user, then type IIPS user and the password is IIPS@2026.
हाँ सही है जाओ उसको मैनेज करो।
देखना बस
तो सीपीयू इधर कर देता हूँ ना। अरे हो गया हाँ सही बात है देखो आओ ठीक है इधर देख लेगा हाँ बस सही सही छोड़ दो इधर इधर फोटोज का सही है हमारे पास दिखा इस तरफ है हाँ किसी एक करना पड़ेगा। बंद करके
सही है बढ़िया सही है ये नहीं आ रहा है ना डेस्कटॉप आ रहा है
डेस्कटॉप ही हटा देना
डेस्कटॉप से काम होगा सही है इतना है बस रिकॉर्ड करना
जो नहीं हुआ क्या
हो जाएगा
करें लाइव है ना नहीं हो रहा है नहीं सही है ऐसा ही रहेगा
पाइथन बाई चार्ट बी स्टूडियो बी ये कोड है बी स्टूडियो है उसमें पाइथन काम इसमें कौन सा नहीं इसमें नहीं है
डेवलपर थे ना करो क्या किस पे रहा
ये मेरे को ना ये टाइम
कैसे पाइथन उसी के जो बी स्टूडियो पे काम करते हैं लेकिन बी स्टूडियो इसमें है नहीं जैसे आप पे काम हमारे स्टूडियो अच्छा वो आईडी इन कोना करके इसमें इंस्टॉल था हाँ उसमें सिखाएंगे अब किसी एक पाइथन के पास कौन है नहीं पता इसलिए इसमें आ गया इसको लॉन्च कर दूंगा ना ये नोटबुक में सब आता है ना करता हूँ बारी बारी के कर देता हूँ VS कोड में VS कोड में बी स्टूडियो में तो वही है ना ये स्टूडियो मैं VS कोड कर रहा हूँ
हाँ सही है VS कोड है हो गया यहाँ से बताइए बी स्टूडियो करता है बी उसको करूँ क्योंकि मैं स्पिन करता हूँ मैंने कभी सीखा है थोड़ा बहुत चला लेकिन काम स्टार्ट इसमें तो थोड़ा आसान है तुम्ही ले लो, तुम बैठे बैठे लेना, बाकी सब ले लो। डॉक्टर प्रशांत
सीखनी है तो अपना को बोल
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the International Institute for Population Sciences, I warmly welcome you all to the two-day lecture cum workshop on machine learning and data science perspectives, jointly organized by the IIPS Placement Cell in collaboration with the IIPS Alumni Association. We are delighted to have faculty members, alumni and students present for this enriching academic and professional interaction. This program has been thoughtfully designed as a two-day session to provide both conceptual understanding and practical exposure in the field of machine learning and data science. Today's session will primarily focus on knowledge discovery from data, machine learning and data mining perspectives. Tomorrow's session will be more hands-on and industry-oriented, focusing on industry-oriented Python for machine learning and visual analytics, shaping data science careers. Together, these sessions aim to bridge theory, application, and career readiness. In today's data-driven world, concepts such as machine learning and data science are reshaping how we understand information, make decisions, and plan for the future. This session aims to provide students with a broader perspective on emerging trends, practical applications, and career pathways in the existing domain. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the efforts of IIPS Placement Cell for continuously bridging the gap between the academic and industry, and the IIPS Alumni Association for their constant support, mentorship, and engagement with our student community. Today's program stands as a wonderful example of this meaningful collaboration. Now I would like to invite Nandita ma'am to brief us about the placement cell and its staff.
A very good afternoon to all. At the outset, I would like to say that I'm extremely proud of all of you, students, and IIPS particularly. So when we say that IIPS, it is not just students, but also faculty as well as all administration we have. And together with that, those people who have passed from this institute and are positioned in great place now. So therefore, I am extremely happy to see all of you here with like lot of eagerness to learn and connect and deliver something. And itself, when I'm standing here, I feel myself I have reduced 10 years of age because seeing all you young people. Two things. One is that this is the first activity under placement cell. Once we have taken over Professor Abhishek and me. So he's not here. He has been busy in some other assignment. So I'm on behalf of placement cell. At the same time, I would like to convey you that basically placement cell representative, class representative are taking the initiative to make this event possible. So I'm really thankful that they have started this initiative. A big applause to them. And of course, we have got support from our director as well as finance officer to organize this event. So we are really grateful to them as well. Yes. And so we can continue this. We have a series of activities which will come in near future. This is one. And secondly, I want to inform you that this is also an event, collaborative event with IIPS Alumni Association, which is very important for the institute as well as for the current student. So IIPSA is the organization which has been bridging connection between present and ex-students. When IIPS was a small institute, small in terms of numbers, was a small institute, it used to be like that. We know 10 years of senior to us and also 10 years junior to us, because the network is very strong and like you can say family. And whenever we go anywhere, any parts of India, any parts of the world, we meet at least some alumni who support actively to us in anything. Like it can be professional, sometimes it can be also personal. So, and from this network, all of us have been extremely beneficial. Now the situation is that in campus we have many students. A lot of time we don't know each other. Forget about even 10 years of batch, senior or senior. Even for me to remember all of your face, it's very difficult. So, but point is that we want, IIPSA wants to make always this bridge. We think that IIPSA's presence will always help the young generations, because our alumni are really positioned in very good organizations or universities or colleges. Anywhere you go in the, I will give you an example. Last week I was in Shillong. I was never thinking that I would meet someone from IIPS. I just put that one happy message that I am here if there is any IIPS alumni. And then interesting is the place where I was posting in the evening restaurant. One of our students who has joined recently to one PRC, he came forward to see me. So that is what is like. And then we have interacted. We remembered our days and professional update. Lot of things happens. Okay. So basically, IIPSA's work is to bridge the to increase the connection between all our alumni, which can be supportive, collaborative, all possible positive way to all of you. So I encourage you, all of you, to be member of IIPSA, and as per UGC mandate also, we have to get always some grade A+, A, and so on. So IIPSA has Alumni Association has a role in getting the grade. So if Alumni Associations are doing something, it is totally for the institute grade as well as it is for you basically. Because if IIPS is getting A+, who will be beneficial from this? You students. My days are still over, you can say. So I encourage, and I am proud to say that we have a group of members, volunteers, like some are present here, Pankaj and Mihir. A lot of people are here who has contributed a lot of their working times in organizing all these activities. Ankit is there. So I encourage you, some of you, if you are genuinely interested to contribute some of your time to expand in this organization's activity, welcome you. It gives not just, it gives a lot of professional experience, network, you're connecting people, which again finally helps your career. Okay. So this is the small note I wanted to tell, and I encourage you to be member of this organization. Fee is very minimal, only 1,000, but we always circulate all the professional information through WhatsApp, through email, and so on. And we want to continue this kind of workshop. Like last month, we had a very one week, Professor Raman, yeah. So 2 days activity. We have done we have got extremely good feedback. So we want to continue these activities. Therefore, you please be member and be involved. Contribute some of your hours to this organization. And we will come to our speaker. We are very happy to be. I heartily welcome Dr. Prashant Verma from Allahabad University. Who is going to speak on a very timely topic, machine learning and data science, and I'm sure that it will be beneficial a lot. Later on he will be introduced, but before going to main activity, I ask Pankaj and Mihir to show how to be member of IPSA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Mihir will be helping me. So, our beloved professor, our brother and sister, very good afternoon. I think a lot of things has been covered by ma'am or lady, that how IPSA is important and how bit by bit your contribution is making us stronger every day. Last workshop we organized at DY party, like most of us were there from second year and first year. As many of you came to me and said that it was wonderful experience. So all was possible because of the IPSA. So since day one, since the inception of IPSA, so many seniors have contributed, and still this phenomena is going on. We are encouraging everyone to participate in that as a volunteer, as a member. And currently we have a very dynamic website which is empaneled to our IIPS website, from where you can go to direct to IPSA website and you can take member. So we are taking to that journey to you. I think Mihir is with me. He will show. Mihir, can So before that, because ma'am mentioned that Professor Ramna was here, so this brief incident I want to mention here, because when he came to campus, he visited campus after 25 years. Some of our, I think Swaraj was with me, Stos was with me, they all saw that how emotional he was. So he left IIPS in 2000 and came back in 2025 because of the IPSA. We organized that event. He was very emotional. He was visiting places and he was like, मैं यहाँ खेलता था, हम यहाँ मस्ती करते थे. So this is what we are going to remember when we will come back after so many years. So when I say that there is 1,000 minimum charges for the master student to become a member, 3,000 for the PhD, and once you pass out, if you take membership, lifetime membership, that is the 5,000. So this is the golden opportunity. 1,000 रुपए देके member बनिए. Instead of paying 5,000 once you pass out. So thank you so much for joining this workshop. Thank you so much for organizing this event. I want you to give a big round of applause to Astos. Where is he? Astos Tiwari. This guy is struggling since last 2 days to organize this event, so he need a great applause. Now I think we are live at website. You can see that there is a impanel this menu IPSA. From here it directly will take to you the IPSA website. Take a while. It will come. Yeah. So here we got a lot of drop-down menu. You can go and explore that what we have. We have a good network of our senior, those who are working abroad in different country on big positions. So you can contact them also. You will see their details, where they are working on, in which organization they are working on, email ID also. You will see every detail and you can build a great network. But for membership, when you log in, it will ask to pay some money, because information is behind paywall. So you have to pay 1,000 as a master student, pay 1,000 and become member. That membership will be converted into lifetime membership once you pass get his degree from here. So first you will get a student membership. When you will complete your degree, that membership will be converted into automatically into lifetime membership degree. We have a big WhatsApp group. We will add there. Once you get member, that is group of all our retired professor, faculty, demographer working in this field. There we see a lot of opportunity, lot of event happening around, and also if you facing any kind of problem in your research, you can share that. And once you share that your problem in that group, the people ultimately working in the field will jump in and they will text you, they will help you out. So we have a very rich community. So I think, is it convincing enough to ask you to pay 1,000 rupees and be member itself today or tomorrow or in coming day? पैसा जैसे फिर उसी तरह member बन जाएंगे. This much I can.
Raise your hand, please, to be member.
Yeah. Everyone. We are not forcing. We are humbly requesting you. See, you have come.
This is for your benefit, not for my benefit.
Yeah, you came from an institute. कोई भी अच्छे से JNU से अभी क्या होता है DU से आप मिस करते हो ना इस कैंपस को. So this is what our organization give us so much. Look at me, did master, MPhil, PhD, पैसे भी इधर ही कमा रहा हूँ, job कर रहा हूँ. I mean, this much if the organization is giving you, you can pay something, a small amount, because whatever the event we are organizing, this has been accumulated. Because of that, since so many years, our seniors has contributed a bit by bit, a drop by drop. So that's why we are growing stronger each day, each coming day. So once you pay, this amount will be fixed deposited. The interest come out of this amount. That interest will be spent every year to organize the event. So I think now this is what website is. Here you can go and choose your class, and then you can pay, and you will get a certificate out of it as a member certificate. Okay, thank you so much. Is it enough, ma'am? Enough? Are you going to be a member? Am I good salesman? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, it's very seamless. I think this will not take much time. Thank you so much.
Don't think it's a advertisement campaign, but see why it is important. It's already been told you, but this is for you. This is for us, not you. This is for us, and we are building this IIPS network. And this is simply, you can understand, it's a network, and this always benefit us, not you, us.
You can write in your CV that there is one column in CV that professional membership. There you can write it some. This is also to add in your CV.
It's for population, students, population, whoever belongs to IIPS.
Thank you, Pankaj Bhaiya, for giving a clear picture of the initiatives and continuous support provided by the IIPS Alumni Association. Now, moving ahead, it is now my pleasure to briefly introduce our guest lecturer for this 2 days program. Dr. Prashant Verma is Assistant Professor in University of Allahabad with rich academic and industry experience in the domains of machine learning, data mining and data science. Today, Sir will guide us through the conceptual foundation of knowledge discovery from data, and tomorrow will focus on practical, industry-oriented applications using Python for machine learning and visual analytics. We are truly grateful to him for being with us for both days for this program and sharing valuable insights with our students. Now, at this moment, I would like to invite Nandita ma'am to kindly come forward for the felicitation of our guest speaker. Ma'am, may I request you to please come on. Thank you, ma'am. I now request Kunal Kesri sir to kindly come forward for the presentation of IPSA t-shirt to our guest speaker as a token of appreciation.
If some of you want to buy this itself.
Now I request Dr. Prashant Verma to kindly take over the session and formally begin day 1 of the lecture cum workshop on knowledge discovery from data, machine learning and data mining perspective. Over to you.
This PC is बस बस हो जाएगा
बीच में हम लोग बैठेंगे, नो प्रॉब्लम।
Respected faculty members, research students, PG students, and all the alumni, a very good afternoon to everyone. So it's my pleasure that you guys have invited me for this lecture. I hope I'll try to in today's session I'll try to introduce you with the concept of the machine learning and data mining a bit. And tomorrow we'll be talking about some more of a practical aspect of these techniques on real data basically. So without any further delay, we'll start this session. This will work for this. Okay, now. So when we heard the word data mining, these are the questions that comes up to our mind. So that what is data mining? Why we use it? Under what condition we use it? And how we use it? Okay. So you have any basic idea of the data mining? Any one of you? I want that this session should be a bit interactive so that I can I'll be able to understand how much I'm going, am I interacting well with you, and are you grasping something? So it should be interactive a bit. So any one of you, if you have any basic idea of data mining, you can please. Anyone? Some raw idea will also be fine. Anybody wishes to? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Finding patterns in the data.
Finding pattern. Great. Anyone up? Finding patterns and interpretation. Okay, great. So now what is data mining? So we have used data in all the fields, whether it's a business domain, whether it is a pharma or some health kind of research or education. In all the fields we have used data. So suppose you must have heard of the NFLS data. Yeah, most of you have worked on that NFLS data. So that's a huge data having different dimension of basically health perspective, having thousands of variables. Now we are collecting the thousands of variables, but at times we need certain information from the data. So why we do the data mining? Basically, we want to take any action. So there are two kinds of the action. One is based on our subjective information. Okay. Suppose we are organizing one event and we want to arrange something. We want to suppose, for example, if it is snacks, how it should be. So we talk about this with our seniors. Okay, भैया last time वो हुआ था इवेंट, उसमें ये पर्टिकुलर कमोडिटी कितनी लगी थी, उन्होंने कहा कि नियर अबाउट इतना रहा होगा. Now you have to take that decision. So that is subjective decision based on your subjective experience. Now one is data driven decision. What does it mean? Means you need to take a decision based on some facts, data. Data is nothing but information. So when you take a decision or action based on data, previous data, past data, or sometimes you call it legacy data, it is called data-driven decision. So whenever we are doing any analysis or model building, it's just because we want to make some action, we want to take some, plan something. So for that we need the data mining. Now the required information or insight from the data, the several techniques extracting those information that we want for our objective. The process is data mining basically. So just like your coal mining, okay, the data mining is done on data basically. So we have the use data and we want the insight, the relevant insight, not just insight, relevant insight, relevant to what? Relevant to our objective. Okay, so one more thing is written here: automatic or semi-automatic. What does it mean? So sometimes we will rely completely on our system or our model, that whatever the model is suggesting, we will take the decision. But sometimes we can have the layers on that. So in machine learning and business analytics or some health analytics, we have some rule-based system. Rule-based means it will include the human intervention. We think of some rules that suppose we want to offer some product to customers. So based on our subjective beliefs and our domain expertise, we try to fix some rules. Top of that, we can use our past data and make some insights or decision based on analysis or models. Now one more thing is written here: meaningful patterns. Meaningful patterns means, so it's very important, out of those 1,000 variables, which variables will be useful for our analysis or model building. So data may be suggesting you are 100 insights, but there can be 10 or 5 insights that is useful for your objective. So what does data mining do? Explore your data. So before starting any analysis or model building, it's very important to explore your data, what your data says, what is the quality of your data. So you must have heard of the data pre-processing and data cleaning. Before starting any analysis, we try to understand our data. So first thing in the data is the data dictionary. All the data must have a data dictionary. So whenever you find any real life data, you must have seen the NFS data. The variables will be like V001, sometimes with the hash and dollar sign. What that particular variable name says. So there should be one data dictionary. This is how we understand our data and explore our data. What is the quality of our data? Have you heard of the garbage value in the data? Have you heard of it? The garbage value? So sometimes, suppose in your demographic research or health research, suppose one variable is gender. So usually, I'm not saying always, usually there will be three categories of that, like male, female, and others, like M, F, and O. These are the coding that your variable is having. In that place, due to some error while storing that data or while entering that data, you may have some hash value, some apostrophe value, or some irrelevant values there for the particular variable. Those are the garbage values for him. You clean that data in that case. So this is how we explore the data. It includes your visualization and your descriptive statistics that you do, and you do missing value treatment after the exploration of the data. Now find patterns. So whatever your data is being learned by your machine, basically. Your machine is your system. So all the data has some pattern. Okay? So suppose we want to know what is the anemia level among women in Mumbai. So data can show you, is there any pattern in terms of all the features or other variables. So do we a particular pattern with all those independent variable we call it feature in machine learning. There is no difference. Okay. So those kind of patterns we can find out either by classification models or some regression models or some unsupervised techniques like your clustering or something. This is how we find the patterns from the data. So we want the data pattern for our decision that performs predictions, etc. Why etc. is written here? So it does prediction as well as segmentation, or sometimes you call it clustering. Means you don't have any target variable in that, but you want to segregate the data. Suppose in that group, based on your all the demographics and socioeconomic variables and your performance, we want to make segregation of you all. So it can be 2 or 3 groups based on your characteristics. We can do it. Now we talk about how the data mining is a bit different from statistical inference, basically. So what we do in inference, we take a sample from a population, we make some assumptions about the population, and we develop a test statistic. You all have heard of test statistic? Yes. आपने टेस्ट लगाया होगा, T टेस्ट लगाया होगा, Z टेस्ट लगाया होगा, chi-square. They all have a particular statistic. We calculate it. We have some validation of hypothesis. In this, in the classical statistics, we make some hypothesis. One is null hypothesis and alternate, and we test it. Okay, there are fixed rules for that. Okay, we calculate the value of statistics based on your data, we compare it with your standard tables, and we conclude based on your hypothesis testing. So this is one approach where we putting our hypothesis before reaching to the conclusion. Okay. Now, if we talk about the data mining, so if you see here, based on the algorithm, the system suggests you what should be the rule. It's not taking any prior assumption usually on data or nature of data or from where it's coming. So the machine learns the data and pattern and support you to take your decision on that particular data. So here we are not usually taking any prior hypothesis on that. It's completely depends on data. Okay. If you see here, now, if you see here, there is a CAN reporting. So CAN reporting is nothing but a regular exercise that we do on data. Suppose your institute must be reporting to some authority on a quarterly basis or the monthly basis on a fixed interval, some kind of reporting. Suppose what is the expenditure on food or your equipments. So that is a regular interval exercise that we do. It can be monthly, weekly, or quarterly, or yearly, or something. So in business, or this is called the CAN reporting, where we have a specific time interval for the reporting based on our analysis from the data. Now, one is ad hoc reporting. So all the industry, they use this ad hoc reporting. Suppose when COVID came, so there was a lot of changes in business. They were impacting badly due to the COVID. So suppose for the particular time, or we can say it's in between that particular interval, business may ask you what is the impact on COVID on a particular quarter or particular month on our sales. So these kind of analysis are called ad hoc analysis or ad hoc reporting. Okay. Suppose today your director says, give me the data of the students for the last three years. What was the average placement from your institute? So you are not doing this exercise on a particular interval frequently, but it was an add-on request, or we can say an add-on project that you have to provide. Now, if you talk about the predictive analysis, this part, now OLAP is online analytical processing. So what happens when your data is being generated? One concept is OLTP, online transaction processing. So if you take an example of your alumni website, so are they storing this data into some cloud? Of course, that website is on the cloud, and whatever the data you feed, that is stored in the cloud. Okay. So there are physical databases, there are cloud-based databases. So whatever your Google provides you the space, suppose. So whenever this Gmail, we have this notification like your Gmail is 98% full or 90% full. Please buy some space from Google. Okay, they charge you something for 100 GB in 1 month, 3 months, like that they give you plan. All that the data is in cloud. Okay, so we have the physical databases also. So I was talking about OLAP and OLTP. So suppose you go to a bank and you give some cash to teller saying that you just need to submit it to my account. So he is creating some transaction. So when you talk about transaction, it's not always of money. Suppose you are doing some shopping on e-commerce, for example, Amazon. Each click made by you is a transaction for a database. So you must have experienced, you get some messages or mail that you are looking for this product, but somehow you did not complete the purchase. How did they know it? Because once you click on that product and select it, or maybe you could have added to your cart. So they have all the information click by click, so that they can make a decision. Who are the customers? We can send a mail or that pop-up messages. So I was talking about this branch. So one transaction the teller is creating for you. So in the interface where they are making this transaction comes under OLTP, online transaction processing. That means there they can make changes. And one is OLAP, the analytic processing. It means this refers to your database or data warehouse. Okay. Each company, when they have enough data, so suppose we have a small company, we can manage our accounts and all the transaction and all the data in Excel files. We can do it. So if you talk about Excel, usually it suggests that it can handle 10 lakhs rows. But what happens in the real life when you have a lot of variables? Your Excel will start working after 6 lakh or 7 lakhs observation if you have a huge data. It's very difficult to make a pivot table or do some small exercise. So you can manage that data in Excel. Once your business or whatever it can be, your research becomes huge, you need more space. Then you will try to store it on some databases. It can be a physical database or cloud-based. Okay. So where you store the data, that is OLTP. So your transaction was made on an OLTP. It was stored in OLTP. We can suppose it's a data warehouse. It is storing the data warehouse. So what is the main difference in OLTP and OLTP is, in OLTP you can make changes, but once the data is stored in some data warehouse or some database, for a particular time you cannot edit it. It's not non-volatile in OLTP. Why is that? What happens? Suppose if it is a business kind of transaction or business kind of data, and somebody did some fraud, and in the particular time there are information about the customer, and if you change it for the particular time, okay, it can cause to another fraud from business. Okay, you can do it at later stage. Suppose in OLTP, your teller input your gender as female in place of male. So that was an error. But for that particular time, it will be female until the next data comes. So we update on the T+1 or T+3 basis. So when the new data table will be created, your name will be corrected and stored in the new table with the new effective date. These kind of data are also called the legacy data or historical data in our databases. Now data mining again. So it's predictive analytics. We do all the predictive analysis based on our legacy data, and that is OLTP, and Now it is written here proactive. Why proactive? Suppose we are doing the data mining or building any model, and we want to train a model that would suggest us how many customers will leave our services in the coming 3 months. So based on our objective, we will select the customer. Suppose a bank is having 60 crore of customers. And for reaching out to each customer, it involves some cost. If it is, whether it is an email or message or anything, it involves cost. So bank will not be interested in sending those messages or that customer retention message to all the customers. They want a particular set of customer that they want to retrieve. So for example, it can be a customer who are maintaining a balance of more than 1 lakh. So it depends on our objective, how we will select the data and build our model. So in each field, the heterogeneity will be there. It will be a different kind of the customer who's maintaining a 2000 average balance and who's maintaining 3 lakhs of average balance. So we may be interested in one set of the customer. So this is one condition. It can be multiple conditions while selecting a target data. Now proactive. So if we are able to predict this, that how many customers will leave our service or product in the coming 3 months, we can proactively try to retrieve them by giving, running some campaigns or doing some personal interaction or something. Okay. So how the business intelligence work using the data mining? So we start with the data sources here. So DBA is it's a database. So there are renowned databases like DB2. Those are the physical databases. They have most of the banks, they use this DB2 and physical databases. And it may include your like paper files. Those are also data, no? If you have some information on paper, it's data. If you have some information on Excel file or say CSV file or a flat file or your DAT file, .dat file, it's data or database we can call it. Okay, so it can be some data from some scientific experiment or some database system. So for business analytics or health analytics or data analytics and data mining experts, it's very necessary to understand the database management system as well, so that we can understand how we can fetch the data from the database and how can we make some basic calculation on the database itself. So while extracting the data, there are 2 options. We can simply extract our data of our own choice or our own conditions, saving it to our local system, and we can do the analysis. Or there is another option that we can do. We can do some basic calculations that will be done in the database itself. That is faster than doing that on your systems, on your machines. So you can do those calculations on database itself using your SQL queries. So database can be physical or the cloud. So you must have heard of DB2 and Oracle databases. Now second is your data pre-processing integration data warehouse. So data pre-processing, again, that what we were talking about, we need to understand the data, what the variables are suggesting to us, what does it mean, and which are the variables are important for our analysis or model building, and what is the quality of the data, including your garbage value, your outliers, your missing values. These all are coming under data pre-process and integration. What is integration? So there can be one source of the data. So in your database, the data will be in form of tables. Once your data becomes so big so that you cannot store in a single source. So there is a concept of schema. So one schema may contain multiple of tables. Okay? For example, your NFHS data, suppose if it is in a schema in a database. So in that schema, there will be different tables. Suppose one table is for the birth records, one table is for the women record, one table can be for men record, and one for the investigative report, like that. So this is how the data integration works from the different sources. Sometimes there will be a cases. There will be a case when you have some data in your data warehouse, but you want some external information as well. For example, suppose you are doing some analysis and you want some GST information on that, but your organization doesn't collect the data on GST. Then what you need to do? You have to look at the GST information on those individuals, and you will integrate the data with that different database or different external source. Okay. Now, data exploration through the statistical summary, that we call it descriptive statistics, using your graphs and charts and descriptive statistics, like you want to see what is the minimum value in that particular variable, maximum value, what is the average value, what is the heterogeneity in that particular variable in terms of standard deviation or variance. Then queries, again, we were talking about the SQL queries that helps you to extract the data from the data warehouse or doing some calculation on that. Suppose in the raw data, the data is in absolute age, in integer form. But for your model building, you need that data in the age interval. So rather than fetching the raw data into a system, suppose the data is gross, and you want to create that new variable of age group. So rather than doing on your own system or local machine, you will do this calculation through your SQL query on the database. So it will be comparatively very fast than the second method. So that is what is being suggested. And the reporting, of course. At the exploration time, you have some suggestions, some insights from the data. What your data basically, what is your descriptive is suggesting you. Till here we are not talking about any model building or some serious analysis or something. We are just exploring the data and getting some insight from there. Now the data mining again. So you may be using some association, some segmentation, some predictive modeling on that. So data mining information. Now, so you can see the exploration here also. That visualization technique will work because you want to explore the data. Once you build the model and you got the insight, again you want to present those information to your domain expert through graphs and charts. Because your business owner or healthcare professionals might not be understanding your particular analysis, your statistics, and your mathematics or your model building. So in statistics, it's recommended that your suggestions and insights should be very simple to understand. That is the basic thing that we read in our undergraduates. In terms of tables, it should be very clear and very precise. In terms of graphs, we call it is self-explanatory. Like that. Decision making and present potential. So this is for the this is once we done with our analysis and decision making, and user is our domain expert. So we have done with the model building, we have our insights from the data. Now we want to present that to our business owner. And based on your recommendation and suggestion, suppose you are recommending 10 points. So business may be interested in your 6 points. So they will make that decision based on your inputs or insight from the data. Now, what you need to understand, what are the components of the data mining? So for data mining, what are the fields that you should be aware of? What is the database technology? So this is very important, how the data in OLAP is stored from the OLTP. What the transformation were made, for that we need to understand the database technology. Means, suppose if you are talking about the SQL queries, so we must know about the database and that those queries so that we can extract the relevant data from the databases. Second is statistics. Statistics is the base of the machine learning and all the advanced terms that we hear. It involves your probability, your descriptive statistics, your inferential statistics, or predictive statistics. So that's why this is also an important part of data mining. You must be having those basic concepts of statistics. Next is visualization. Nowadays you are using Power BI and Tableau for the data intelligence and reporting basically. So each industry have those kind of tools now. They are using these tools nowadays so that they can make a quick decision. And most of the time you will see it's more interactive kind of visualization. You can change and customize those results as per your choice. So how many of you have tried the Power BI or Tableau on some database or some local files you can also use? So this is one of the recommendations that you can use the student version of Power BI or Tableau. And if you do we have any database like that so that we can connect to the server like that? Do we have any option here? Is it? Okay. So for the learning purpose, you can use the local files. So it can be a flat file or some Excel file or some Saikia file or something. Huh? And if this data is here, so again, that can be utilized for the training purpose. And there are some open access server as well that provides you unlimited data so that you can connect to those servers and you can learn how we can visualize the data using Power BI and Tableau. Other discipline. As per my personal view, this is the most important thing. Other discipline means domains. So your problem can be from health domain, from pharmaceuticals, from business domain, okay, from finance domain, banking domain. So until you know how that domain works, what are their pain points, what are the challenges they are facing, you cannot do the analytics for them. You cannot make build a model for them to address their problem. So you must be aware of this. So so it's important. Again, suppose if I am interested in business, I should try to go to the business domain because that our interest needs with okay, profit. Okay, so the requirement of the employer basically. So if I am interested in pharma, so I should go in that domain. So that's why domain is very important. Domain knowledge is very important for the analytics. So even if I'm not a student of bioinformatics, but I should be aware of the basic concept of the bioinformatics, how it works, what is the DNA, what is RNA, what is the gene mutation. You must be aware of it. Until that, until we have that information or knowledge, we cannot help them. Now, algorithm, basically all the machine learning models or even the statistical models, we all have the algorithms. Even a simple analysis also is having an algorithm. Algorithm is nothing but the steps that we do in some task. Okay? You all have tried that flow chart that we used to create when we were learning some language or something. Okay? Initially, we are told like that we are making some, we need to make some program for making average of the data, how to create, how to make a program for that. So we used to have that flow chart with that. Now pattern recognition is again, the data has some pattern. Using these information, we can recognize the pattern in the data. For example, which kind of people are having oral cancer? So we need to understand the pattern in the data based on the several variables. It can be thousands or hundreds of variables. What is the relation of these features with the cancer outcome or stage of the cancer? Like that. Now it's now machine learning. So again, pattern recognition is the output of the machine learning. So similar to our brain, how we learn? We learn from our experiences, from our past experiences. Okay? So our brain learns what happened during last 10 years or 15 years, and we make the predictions or make our decisions based on the previous information. A similar thing is done by the machines using the past data, or we call it legacy data. Any question clear? No, these are the stages of basically knowledge discovery and data mining. We start with the data. So starting any analysis or model building, we need the data. It can be a data warehouse file, it can be your local file or something. Now we have here the target data. What is it called target data? Here we have the raw data, including all the possible information that a particular domain is capturing. We don't want the insights or the model building on all the data. Now we have the target data. So recently when we were talking about for a particular set of customers, you want to build some model. So it was like customers who are maintaining a balance of suppose for say 50,000, and we can make another selection criteria as well who are getting a credit of 20,000 per month. It can be several conditions on the data on which you want to make a model. Or in your suppose in your research problem, your socioeconomic research problem, it can be based on your age. Suppose you want to do some analysis or model building on the people who are 45 plus, and it can be another feature condition like it should be made. So you want to do an analysis or model building for a particular set of observation from your data. Now again, pre-processing includes your missing value treatment, your outlier treatment, and your garbage value treatment, and those kind of stuff can be done in the pre-processing part. Now transformation. There are certain analysis and machine learning models or statistical models that require a particular form of the data. You must have heard of scaling of the data. सुना होगा कभी ना कि ये एनालिसिस लगाने के लिए आपको डेटा स्केल करना पड़ेगा. स्टैंडर्ड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, जेड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की हम बात करते हैं, नॉर्मलाइजेशन ऑफ द डेटा, सुना होगा, दैट वी डू, दैट इज ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। अगेन इसके अलावा हो सकता है इट कैन बी रिक्वायर्ड एज ए लॉग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन और एक्सपोनेंशियल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, और there can be a situation where you want to create new variables based on the available variable. Suppose you have a variable of age of male, age of his wife, and you want to create one more variable, the age difference between partners. So you can create that variable, that comes under transformation and data manipulation, you call it. So when we call it data manipulation, it includes the pre-processing and transformation. So when you hear the data manipulation, it doesn't mean that you are manipulating the raw data. It means you are creating some new variables or you are transforming that data. Okay, not forging the data. Now the data mining is again your pattern recognition, and at this point you may include some algorithm for regression for your classification problem, or some association problem, or your segmentation problem here. Now interpretation. So once you have the insights of the data, now it comes how you want to interpret. It's very important. So if you take a simple example of the interpretation, we sometimes we call it misuse of statistics. Okay, suppose there are 100 frauds. In a particular month, a bank found 100 frauds were there, and 60 were made by female and 40 were made by men. And we somehow concluded that female are making more frauds or more fraudulent transactions compared to men. And we didn't look at what was the population of men and female. And now that percentage is like 60% among female and 40% in male. Now we have one more information that there were 100 men and 200 female. Now the scenario will change. Now you have to look at what was the population of men. Out of that population, how many did the fraud? And what was the total population of female? Out of that population, how many did the fraud? Now it will be completely changed. So that's why that interpretation part is very important. Again. Now, once we interpret everything, at the end we found the knowledge from our data. What our data is suggesting, what are the insights it's giving. So in terms of knowledge, we get it. Again, so for any analysis or model building, we have the databases. It can be a physical or cloud-based data. It can be a data warehouse from your websites or internet. You can have some data. If you heard about the web scrolling, sometimes we use the API to get the data from the different websites. For example, you want to make one analysis where you want to understand for a particular, suppose for Axis Bank, you want to see where are the ATMs located for Axis banks, and where you need to either discontinue the old ATMs or you want to put a new ATMs there. And your bank is SDFC. You don't have the data from Axis Bank. They will not share it. Will they? Different banks in the banking industry, they don't share the data. they have a separate database and they don't share because of customer privacy. And one more thing, suppose they are sitting, if we ask them, okay, remove the customer name, remove the email ID, remove all the personal identification from the data and give us the data, will they give? Will the other bank give, huh? Yeah, definitely. They are their competitions. If they know our statistics, and they can make own plan and whatever. We may reduce our customer or they will know our strategy or something or our condition. Suppose if you talk about the customer chat, so if they know the patterns in your bank, that's not good for your business. Okay. So from the internet, you wanted to know the geolocation of ATMs of Axis banks. We can do the web scrolling doing our API, then we can get those information that is in unstructured form in some website, in some structured database. You must have heard about the structured data, semi-structured and unstructured data. So most of the time when we talk about the qualitative analysis, suppose it is an interview, it can be in form of some text or in form of some voice notes or your audio files. Those are unstructured data. So structured data we usually see in the tables. That's fine. Give me 2 minutes. Yeah. So,
कॉफी भी ठंडी हो जाएगी, थोड़ा पी लें।
okay, we have a break for 10
minutes.
10 minutes?
So we have arranged some snacks outside. So please join us and we'll take 5-minute break when everybody is supposed to come back. Don't go to hostel.
बस 5 मिनट में 5 मिनट, ठीक है? ये तो आपका टाइम है।
चलो बच्चा जल्दी।
बनारस सेमिनार में थे क्या उसमें?
नेचर सेमिनार में
2024 में था।
शायद क्योंकि सर ये जुड़े रहना
खाए क्या समोसे? कब चलना चाहिए? समोसे तो चलना चाहिए।
अरे वो क्या हो ना, यहाँ पे आईसीटी में अलाउ नहीं है
तो
चाय
लाना ही
कॉफी,
नहीं था पहली बात
तो मैं ले आया।
क्यों लाया? मैं देखो तुम सर्व क्यों कर रहे थे, जरूरत नहीं थी सर्व करने की।
कर दिए, इसमें क्या दिक्कत है?
सब प्रोफेशनलिज्म रखो भाई, मजाक हो रहा है यहाँ पे, सब मजाक करा रहे हैं
कौन
पीछे
मजाक
बैठ के। बाद में मैं खाऊंगी, किसी का ध्यान ही नहीं है पढ़ने लिखने में यहाँ पे।
कुछ समझेगा तो समझ में
वही तो।
फिर मैं प्यार से समझा रहा है।
कवर में तो रह सकते स्टैंडिंग साइड तो स्टैंडिंग को वीडियो को चलिए
किसको बोला ट्रैक तो
आ गया
आ रहा है अरे वो क्या हुआ था कि ट्रेन में नॉट अलाउड कि यहाँ पे तुम कॉफी ला सकते हो मैं ले आया इसलिए मुझे भेज देना
साइट्स वाला नहीं है मतलब आप बहुत अच्छे से
बोल रहे हैं
एक्सप्लेन করছে কোন মানে ওয়ার্কনেস আমার ভালো লাগে আইটেম
हाँ आ जाओ। सर थोड़ा सा आज मेरा भी बहुत देर चल गया था। हाँ तो ये बोल रहा था कि लंच तो तुम नंदिता मैम के साथ किया। हाँ तो फिर नहीं बोल रहा था कि तो डिनर अराउंड तुम पहले फिनिश करो, ठीक है ना?
एक्चुअली थोड़ा सा लंबा जा रहा है।
ठीक है वो
डिटेल में थोड़ा बात करने में
नहीं बहुत डाइवर्स ऑडियंस होने की वजह से वो हो जाता है, क्योंकि बिकॉज योर फर्स्ट ईयर फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर का लड़का लोगों से लेकर PhD तक है। एवरीबडी इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग हार्डली मीन्स the second year students might are like little bit exposed to this thing। तो इसी वजह से मुझे लग रहा है कि मतलब ठीक है, अच्छा है तुम
अभी ट्राई करें इसका अगर थोड़ा बहुत।
यस सर अपॉर्चुनिटी तो तुम इट्स अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर यू, ठीक है ना? तुम अच्छे से कर लो इसका। तुम कर लेना, मैं एक्चुअली है ना मैं अभी बैठ जाता था।
नहीं सर आप लोड मत लीजिएगा।
नहीं मैं एक्चुअली है ना 5 बजे पता नहीं तो फिर से ये क्या है 5 बजे।
अच्छा कुछ मीटिंग
फिर से
नो प्रॉब्लम सर।
तो हाँ ठीक है। हाँ 5 बजे इनको एक मीटिंग अरेंज किया, ठीक है? ये भी ये कल बोल रहा था ना, ये भी काम कर रहा है हमारे साथ, ठीक है ना?
अच्छा ओके।
हाँ ये वाला ये इसका नाम शुभम है।
शुभम ओके
ठीक है ना? एक वो दोनों तो अभी पता नहीं कहाँ बैठा
वो लोग अटेंड नहीं कर रहे।
हाँ ठीक है कोई बात नहीं। तो हम लोग तुम कर लो अच्छे से, ठीक है ना? हाँ कुछ चाय वाय नहीं पी रहेगा?
नहीं कॉफ़ी लिया सर मैंने, खाने का मूड नहीं था सर।
हाँ
क्योंकि सुबह आपके साथ भी खा लिया था, उसके बाद मैम में थोड़ा सा सफिशिएंट था मेरे लिए, भूख नहीं लग रहा था मुझे ज़्यादा, क्योंकि अभी सर 2 दिन तो पार्टी हुआ है अभी उधर, तो 3 दिन हो गया था ऐसा। फ्राइडे इवनिंग, फ्राइडे सैटरडे संडे मंडे 3 दिन तो ऐसा
ठीक है मतलब लाइट खाना ऑफकोर्स बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट जब काम होता है तो लाइट खाना खाना।
हाँ लाइट ही मुझे सही लगता है सर। अगर कुछ प्रेजेंटेशन या ऐसा कुछ लाइट खाने में
ठीक है। अच्छा है स्टूडेंट्स जनरल स्टूडेंट्स अच्छा ही है, ठीक है? क्योंकि उनको थोड़ा सा बेसिक ओरिएंटेशन तो ऑलरेडी स्टैटिस्टिक्स इवन भले वो बैकग्राउंड्स अलग बैकग्राउंड्स होता है, बट लेकिन थोड़ा सा ओरिएंटेशन है सबका पास कुछ ना कुछ। चलो फिर कल कितना बजे? 1 बजे तक है ना?
हाँ 1 बजे तक, मॉर्निंग 10 to 1 PM।
ऐसा तो नहीं कि आज मुझे वो करना पड़ेगा ब्रेक?
नहीं
कितने बजे तक? कभी
अभी 5:30 तक हम कर लेंगे।
ट्राई टू
नहीं अच्छा है हाफ एन आवर तुम करके 5:30 को शायद मैं मीटिंग में रहूँगा। 5:30 को 5 o'clock मीटिंग है।
जस्ट ड्रॉप अ मैसेज।
हाँ 5:30 को मैं मीटिंग जाऊँगा। हाँ ओके ठीक है। अच्छा है मतलब गुड इनिशिएटिव। हाँ ठीक है।
थैंक यू सर।
हाँ
थैंक यू सर।
ओके सर।
ओके हाँ
थैंक यू सर।
गिरीश we have only 5 minutes। बोल दो 5 मिनट ओनली। आ रहे हैं ना सर? ठीक है सर। तो अच्छा जा रहा है ना सर?
वो तो मुझे बताइए अच्छा जा रहा है,
बहुत अच्छा जा रहा है।
कनेक्ट कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि वो इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ऐसा मैं बोलते रहूँ। नहीं थोड़ा सा नहीं कुछ नहीं तो बोलते हैं कि जो बड़े ऑडियंस है अगर 20% लोग वो भी कनेक्ट हो रहा है, सो दैट इज गुड।
30 to 40% आज जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है दे आर गेटिंग वेल।
तो हाँ तो कुछ
हम क्वेश्चन
अभी क्या हो रहा है मान ये 12 बचे मैं सोच रहा हूँ स्प्लिट करना पड़ जाएगा।
नहीं हुआ तो कल हम थोड़ा सा ऐड करके फिर चला देंगे।
हम देख लेते हैं वहाँ से
हम कल
या फिर हम आगे की कुछ चीज़ें हैं उसको हम थोड़ा सा स्पीड अप कर सकते हैं। हालांकि मैंने भी बहुत ज़्यादा स्लो कोशिश करी है ना कि स्लो स्टार्टिंग में रहता है तो फिर ट्राई करते। मेरे साथ एक प्रॉब्लम बस ये होती है कि जब मैं कॉन्सेप्ट बता रहा हूँ उसमें दूसरा वर्ड आता है, वो वर्ड के बारे में फिर
वेरी गुड सर, यही तो
फिर मैं वापस, मुझे कभी कभी याद रहता है कभी नहीं रहता कि वापस आना है इस पर, तो ये रहता है। लैंग्वेज वो सब क्लियर है?
एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर।
नहीं ऐसा तो मैं हाँ बोलने की
नहीं
जरूरत नहीं है,
क्लियर है, मैं इसलिए पीछे जाके मैंने
इसलिए
देखा।
मैं फीडबैक के लिए मैं कुछ लेता हूँ। और कल भी काम करना कुछ ब्लैंक पेपर्स या वन साइड यूज पेपर है ना ऑफिस में, पेपर भी वेस्ट नहीं करना है अपने को, या उनका ही कोई यूज्ड पेपर या वन साइड है उस पर इट डिपेंड्स वेदर दे वांट टू पुट देयर नेम्स और नॉट, आई वांट फीडबैक। ओके सब्जेक्टिव
गूगल फॉर्म से फीडबैक लेंगे जैसे मैं
गूगल फॉर्म में लेने में प्रॉब्लम,
और वन क्वेश्चन डाल दे व्हाट वाज यू मतलब कैसा आपको लगा,
गूगल फॉर्म में ले सकते हो। अदरवाइज
वो भी ले सकते, ठीक है।
एनोनिमस देना है, एनोनिमस फॉर मी है, ठीक ना, कि मेरे को भी अगर कहाँ करना है, क्या लग रहा है और क्या हम आगे करेंगे तो कर सकते, ठीक है। तो वो थोड़ा सा
सब आ रहे हैं ना,
इसकी जरूरत है कि हाँ क्वेश्चन के लिए
वो सारी चीज़ शुरू कर रहे हैं। एक साथ सेशन के बीच में से क्लिक कर रहे हो, वो मिल
आप किधर हो? आप इधर ही बैठो क्या?
यही हमारे फोटोग्राफर
नहीं, एक हमारे पास एक्सपर्ट रहता है हर जगह। पता नहीं वो तुम्हारे बैच का था क्या, वो बाद में मैसेज किया।
हाँ
आदर्श वो अपना बड़ा शौक था, सारी इवेंट्स में वो किसको दोनों ही ये सब मुझसे शेयर कर देना,
ये मुझे शेयर करेंगे।
फीडबैक वाला भी याद रखना।
मैं दोनों कर देंगे।
हाँ दोनों
करना है।
तो फिर
मुझे बस एक मेल करना, सारे मेल मेरे पास है, एक मेल से बोलता हूँ सबको एवरीवन ईमेल मेरे पास।
और हमको ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं चाहिए। गुड
समथिंग टू राइट,
सब्जेक्ट फीडबैक चाहिए। मुझे भी ऐसे अगर यहाँ के लिए फीचर यूज करना है तो हम कैसे कनेक्ट करें, कहाँ गैप था, क्या चीज़ हम इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं।
जो था प्लीज 5 मिनट, तो ये हम 5:30 तक रखेंगे, हाफ आवर एक्स्ट्रा। बैठो
हालांकि बिल्कुल ये भी कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा सा अगर ब्रेक करके भी कुछ चीज़ें कर सकते हैं। हालांकि बाद में एप्लीकेशंस के कल हमारे पास पूरा टाइम होते हैं, हम ये भी नहीं करना चाह रहे, पर ठीक है जो हम थोड़ा सा हो जाएगा, क्योंकि मशीन लर्निंग में हम लोग को वेट मिला रहता है इसका, तो वो स्पीड अप।
ठीक है, आने दो।
ये सब की बातचीत बहुत सही लगती है, बहुत ग्राउंडेड है।
हाँ
मुझे वो हमेशा पसंद आता है।
वो सब बाद में बताएंगे, क्वेश्चन आंसर कैसा रहेगा।
एक्चुअली पता है वो भी लेट हो गया, मैंने अभी वो किया है शेयर, पहले कर देता तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहता। आई थिंक फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर वालों के लिए अच्छा रहता।
थोड़ा बोलो जल्दी, जितना जल्दी हो सके उतना। सत्यम एक बार बोलो, जितना जल्दी हो सकता है कर ले। क्योंकि क्या हुआ ना, हमारा ब्रेक डिसाइडेड था टाइमिंग, बट क्या हुआ ना कि मैं अंदर कॉफ़ी लेके आ गया, एंड ICT में इट इज़ नॉट अलाउड टू ब्रिंग एनीथिंग एडिबल इनसाइड, क्योंकि तो उनका नोटिस है यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं ला सकते खाने का, पीने का वाटर ओनली अलाउड। सो दैट्स वाई हमें तुरंत ब्रेक करना पड़ा। दैट वाज माय मिस्टेक समथिंग।
नहीं ठीक है, दैट्स फाइन। नहीं कुछ ऐसा वो धीरे धीरे प्लान में लगता है ना, क्योंकि आपको पता नहीं है कि आप किस चीज़ पे और कितना जाओगे। अभी तो जैसे पूरा 1 घंटे से ऊपर हो गया, लेकिन अभी हम 12 स्लाइड्स, मतलब उसको बोलेंगे तो 10 ही बोलेंगे, तो ऐसे ही रहता है। तो इसमें भी अभी बहुत है जो इसके बारे में बात हो सकती है, बट अगेन वही रहता है कि इतने टाइम में आप कितना कर सकते हैं। तो इसलिए हम लोग ये डेढ़ महीने चलता है पूरा इंट्रोडक्शन।
आगे भैया, अंकित भैया आ रहे हैं सारे? ये बंद कर दो पीछे से। हाँ बंद कर दो, ये बंद कर दो, बंद कर दो, ऊपर से लगा दो, ऊपर से इसको पीछे खींचो, उसको अंदर डालो, इसको पीछे, हाँ ये बस, क्लोज इट फ्रॉम, ठीक है।
यूजी1 को शेयर कर देते हैं।
हाँ वो
फर्स्ट ईयर अपने को डाला है, फर्स्ट ईयर सेकेंड थर्ड सब में बोल दिया। इसमें ये ना कि ये मिस भी करेंगे तो लेकिन सी, क्योंकि वो डायरेक्टली वह जब जाके पढ़ेंगे अभी से थोड़ा सा इश्यू है। क्या हुआ? अभी तक कोई क्वेश्चन है क्या आप लोगों का?
हाँ तब तक हम क्वेश्चन कर सकते हैं।
कोई ऐसा भी है जो हिंदी नहीं समझता है यहाँ पर, जिसको हिंदी नहीं आती, ऐसा भी है कभी? है हमारे इस ग्रुप में कोई है जिसको हिंदी समझ नहीं आती? प्रॉब्लम नहीं है उसमें, बस I just wanted to know. Any question from anybody till now?
कोई भी बोल रहा है भोजपुरी आता है
सेशन के बाद उस पर हम लोग चर्चा करेंगे। आप ही बोल रहे थे? कौन था? सेशन के बाद उसमें हम बनारसी, भोजपुरी, थोड़ा तमिल और तेलुगु में भी हो सकता है, मलयालम थोड़ा सा टफ हो जाता है। तेलुगु है हमारे बीच,
यही है
तमिल तमिल है अभी इस क्लास So when we have huge
म्यूट
dimension
कर
of
दिया
data,
था
similar to your matrix, data is in data frame of tabular form. The difference is in matrix you have all the numeric values, but in data frame that is in tabular form you can see multiple data type. It can be qualitative, quantitative, or in any of the 4 scales. Okay, so once the data dimension becomes huge, that is the first condition. The data dimension should be huge. So data size should be huge. Data size considers your dimension, data dimension, as well as your data size. Okay. Now velocity. What is the frequency? How frequently the data is being generated? So nowadays, if you talk about the real data generation, real-time data generation that we get in business, in e-commerce, or even do you have any example in your institute of real-time data? Population. Okay, the count is there. Okay, that's a real-time data. Once that observation comes, the data is being updated. Now that's velocity. How frequently, how quickly the data is being generated, with what intervals. Now variety. Okay, it can be a combination of the different data types and combination of the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. So these are the things that makes a data a big data, and the veracity is means truthfulness of data. How reliable is data? How the data is being generated with what? Suppose if it is survey data. So how reliable it is? How true it is? Have we used the perfect of a good sampling plan, or we have collected it with integrity, like that? So that is veracity. So these are the component of the big data. Once a data is having all these characteristics, we call it big data. Again, it depends on your domain. For one domain where we are collecting rare events, a small number can be a big data. And for other, it can be crores of the data. Then we may call it big data. So it's a Now why we are doing the data mining? Again, the data has been grown from terabyte to petabyte. We are talking about the dimension of data and size of data. So we are talking about the size. Earlier, we didn't have that much streaming data. But now we have the streaming data and picture data and video data. Those are huge in volume in terms of size. Now, automated data collection tool. You're talking about the automated data system, cloud-based, like that, or in the physical database. We were doing the e-commerce, sales, the banking, finance, wherever the transaction is involved. So, this is automated data collection. One system is there, you hit a click, it will be stored. It will generate a data, information. And of course, the web data. Okay. The major source of abundant data is business, web, e-commerce, transaction, stocks. Now, the science, remote sensing, who are from geography background must have had that remote sensing data, and we have bioinformatics and scientific simulation data. Those are basically huge insights. Society in India, news, digital camera, YouTube. These are the example of the YouTube. Is an example of the streaming data. Okay. So nowadays we do a lot of text analytics and video analytics and voice analytics. So those comes under this umbrella. Now, we are turning the data but stopping all the knowledge. So we have plenty of the data in all the domains, in all the fields, but we don't have the proper insight from that. So to get the proper insight from the huge data, we need the data mining techniques. Now, we already talked about the high dimensional data and high volume data, heterogeneous distributed nature of the data. Heterogeneous is
It carry different
okay. Yeah.
A lot of dissimilarities between the data.
Yes. If you talk about any characteristics, if your data has huge variance or heterogeneity, also the data type will be different. And distributed nature of data. As we were talking about that there may be a case where our data warehouse doesn't have that particular information or data, but we may need some other sources to integrate all this data for one model building or for one insight. We usually do it. Now, as we were talking about data mining makes all this phase. Statistics we already talk about why it is required for data mining. AI is a huge umbrella under which the machine learning and deep learning comes. Next is database management. This we already talked about why we require the database management tools and techniques. Like we were talking about different databases and SQL queries, from where we extract the data and do some basic data manipulation on that. Machine learning means I think from the third semester we have already learned the machine learning. So anybody of you want to introduce machine learning to us? Any rough idea? Whatever you remember. When did you write your last examination? What was the date? Yesterday? This is for first semester, I guess.
Yes.
What about third semester?
98.
Who learned ML? 90. Okay. How was your exam? That was good. You got the marks? No. Okay. What are the expected marks? So any idea about the machine learning? If someone asks you, what is machine learning? You can read it and tell. Anyone? कोई भी चलेगा, रफ आइडिया चलेगा. Yes.
Learning from the existing data.
Learning from the
Developing intelligence.
Okay. Learning from the existing data and developing the intelligence or insight. Okay. By the machine, what word is there explicitly without being explicitly programmed? What does it mean?
So we try to give the machine a set of assumptions on basis of which it develops a model and further we process the data on the basis of that. So that's what machine learning is.
Okay, we give the data to machine. It learns the pattern from the data and give insight based on that patterns or that data. That is it. As we already discussed that it works similar to our brain, how we learn and take our decision. Similarly, machine learns from the data. Okay. Which kind of assumption you are talking about?
For example, if I am building a model and I tell that these are the conditions, prerequisite conditions on the basis of which you want to process the data further, then the machine will, on the basis of the assumption, interpret the data that we give it and on the basis of the model that we have already.
Okay, so in general, I'm not saying all the machine learning algorithms, but most of the machine learning algorithms don't consider those assumptions actually. They consider the data, what data is suggesting. They are trying to learn the data and give you some predictions or some segregation or some insight from the data. So, if you talk about the logistic regression, we all heard of it. We know the assumptions. There are certain assumptions on the data. If it's not following the assumptions, that in that case we may get a distorted model, or we may not be able to train a model with that much good accuracy. So under those conditions, when the assumptions are not being fulfilled, the machine learning algorithms comes into picture. Okay. So now you must have heard about the training data set, testing data set, validation data set, out of time validation data set. Have you heard of it? So we usually have a legacy data. We do the partition of that data. The convention is 70-30. We can make it 60-40 or 80-20. We train the data in 70% of 70% of data. We test our trained model on rest of the data. And one more thing is out of time validation. Suppose you have built a model on NFHS 4 data. You have trained it, you have tested it in the other partition that your model has not seen. The training data set, you give your outcome variable. But in testing, you don't give it. And then check whether it is predicting accurately. So this is training and testing. And now you want to see the sustainability of this model, this trained model over the time. Or you want to generalize this data for the upcoming time. So what you can do, now we are having NFHS 4 data, NFHS 5 data, you train and tested your data on NFHS 4. If your model is working fine on NFHS 5 data as well, then we can say, so this is called the out of time validation. Out of time validation, and one more thing is out of sample validation. Means at the same time, you have the data, train and test, but on some other observations, you have validated your model. That is for robustness and stability of your model. Means your model is consistently working fine on a different data sets or different new observations, and also over a different time period. So one more thing you can see, the K-fold validation is here. Okay. I think you also heard about this. Supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and reinforcement learning. In supervised, what we have? We have the label data. Label data means a target variable is there. Like if it is a regression problem, you will be having one continuous variable to predict. Suppose you want to predict the income based on some features. You want to predict what will be the expenditure on health for a particular individual based on some characteristics. Now your study variable, we call it study variable, outcome variable, dependent variable, target variable. These all are same. If your target variable is continuous in nature, that is regression. Or if it is categorical, it's a classification problem. Okay. So in supervised learning, your output variable will be there. If it is a regression problem, your outcome variable will be a quantitative variable. In a classification problem, your outcome variable will be categorical variable. It will be classes. Okay, in classification problem, your outcome variable will be having classes or categories. Okay. So in that you have the final data on which you want to, the outcome variable will be having on which you want to predict something. Okay. So for example, in health, you want to predict what is the probability that a particular patient or individual will have the risk of heart disease. You must be having the past data. All the features will be there. The patient's demographics will be there. The socioeconomic variable will be there. Past medical history will be there. These are the features, and one outcome variable will be there, like whether he was having heart disease or not, like 0, 1, finding and all. It can be multi-class as well in classification. And you want to check what is the probability of an individual that he will have a heart disease. These kind of machine learning models will be problems will come under supervision. Now unsupervised learning, we don't have any specific outcome variable, but we want to segregate our data based on some features. As I already discussed about in one example in the class. We want to segment this class based on some 10 or 15 variables. But we don't have an output variable that we want to predict. We want to segregate the student or segment the student. Can we have one example of this segmentation in your specific domain? Can we think of it? Example of unsupervised learning where we want to segment or segregate individuals. Sorry? Rural and urban. Okay. So here you are having a clear-cut output set, but in segmentation we don't give the outcome variable to that. We want to segregate or segment the data, basically segment the data, the individuals into different groups. Can we have some other examples? Undergraduate and postgraduate. Some other example can we have? In your domain? But in segmentation or unsupervised learning, we really don't know that that we are predicting or segregating based on a single variable. We do it on multiple variables. Okay. So usually, again, if we take example of some business scenario, and we don't have a past data for a certain product. We are launching one product, and we don't have any legacy data on that. Past data names. Okay. So how will we offer that? Suppose if it is a loan product, how will we offer them? We don't have a past data. Means what kind of customer bought that particular loan? We don't have it. Then we use the unsupervised learning technique. It will segment all the customers, and once it segments, suppose our unsupervised learning made two groups of customers. Then we study both the groups, and based on that we will decide which group is having more probability of buying a new product that we are launching, for which we don't have any past data. So in that case, we cannot use the supervised learning. We have to go for unsupervised learning. So we will study both the segment and find out what kind of a customer will buy the loan, or what kind of customer a bank would like to give the loan, who are capable to repay, who are not going to NPA. So we will study both the segment and assess who are going to repay. So this is what we do when we don't have any specific outcome variable. Okay. Now reinforcement learning again. So suppose we have built one model, but what happens over the period? The scenario changes. Suppose if you talk about any disease, so for a particular time period, for a particular geographical area, suppose if you are talking about cancer. So in 2025, we have built one model that can predict which kind of individual are having high likelihood of having cancer. It may change after few time, after interval. After some time it may change. then we need to recalibrate our model. And one more thing, when we predict something, it involves some uncertainty or some error that we call misclassification. You must have heard about the confusion matrix. Where we talk about sensitivity, specificity, and balance, accuracy, and accuracy of the study. Now, precision, recall, F1 score. So, if we make a mechanism that after our prediction, whatever we misclassify, whatever the feedback for the model, can we incorporate that feedback to the model again to retrain that model so that it can learn that misclassification as well. What happens if we make some mistake? We have the feedback. Now we learn that mistake as well. So we can improve our future prediction. So this is what reinforcement learning does. Now we have initialized with the data. Now, types of data, types of interestingness criteria, now pattern recognition. What are the pattern was hidden? We try to recognize those patterns through data mining. Now, what is interestingness criteria? You may be interested sometimes in frequency. How frequently that particular event of your interest is happening. So that is, now for each case, your interestingness criteria will change. Second is rarity. You must have heard of the rare events. Sometimes you will be interested in rare events. Right? Can we have an example of rare events? Anybody? Alzheimer? Okay. Is this a rare event? Again, depends which group we are talking about. Okay, it depends on case, how you select your data. Anything? Okay. Anything else? So at times you may be interested in real events. Now, sometimes you may be interested in correlation. How the two scenarios are interrelated. How they are correlated. So this depends on the interestingness criteria. Length of occurrence. Can we have an example of length of occurrence? Length of occurrence.
Incubation period of a disease.
Incubation period of disease. Good. Anything else? Length of occurrence. For a particular.
Like how is the space changing with time? Like if you want to analyze the forest pattern, how is it increasing with time?
We are talking about length of occurrence means suppose one event happened. When it is going to happen next? What will be the time duration to the next repetition of that particular event? Can you think of any example related to this? Sorry? Didn't get it. That period of cancer. Yes. Okay. Now consistency. You will be interested in how consistent is our event. For example, if you are a customer and you are consistently doing business with some organization or some supplier. So suppose you may be interested who are the customer who are doing business with us for say for example for 2 crores in each quarter. Any other example in your domain you can think of? What What will the example of consistency? Can you think? Any rough idea? So it's not an examination, no? You may just, you don't need to press the buzzer, you just guess something. Okay, you are not getting any marks in that. You will be evaluated or not here. Can we think? Consistency in your domain, whether if it's health domain or some geography domain or economics domain. Okay. अभी जैसे बिजनेस की बात है तो what are the two major things with the business for any industry? When supply is there, what they want to increase their revenue as much as possible. Second, they want to decrease what? Risk, basically. What is the risk involved with some activity? They want to increase their revenue that comes from sales or business, and what is the risk involved with this? Suppose I want to give a loan to somebody. So what will I think? I should give to them who needs it. A customer who needs a loan, we want to pitch in those customers, and parallelly we want the customers who are less likely to default, or those are very with the less credit risk. So that is what we can do. We can build two different models. One is for sales. What are the customers which are having higher probability or higher likelihood of buying that product, parallelly who are having a less likelihood of being a default. Okay. Now repeating periodicity. Abnormal behavior, it's more related to rarity basically. This comes in very frequently in frauds. Suppose a customer that average behavior is like he's withdrawing the cash or submitting the cash of 20,000 for say 20 to 30,000 each month for some amount. Suddenly you see a particular customer starting deposit 49,000 rupees, 49,999 like that. So this is basically a normal behavior for a particular customer. It can be a flag to the business. So if you deposit some cash, earlier the rule was if you submit or deposit a cash of more than 50,000, you need to produce the PAN. Have you heard of it? So what they will do, they will use 1 rupees, 100 rupees, something from 50,000, and they will keep submitting those cash. So that is a normal behavior. It can be in different domains as well, and other patterns of interestingness. Apart from these listed, there can be n numbers of interestingness criteria for which you want to do the data mining or build any model. Now, which kind of tasks data mining can do is predictive methods and descriptive methods. Predictive analysis and descriptive analysis. So when we explore the data, we do the descriptive statistics, and when we want to predict something, that is done by the predictive modeling, basically. Now we were talking about the classification and regression. So now, are we clear between these two, classification and regression? Are we clear? Are they supervised or unsupervised? Classification and regression. Supervised. Why? Why? We have the outcome variable or target variable or label data in our data frame, basically in our study data. Okay. So, okay. Now clustering. Clustering is again, is it supervised or unsupervised? Unsupervised. We don't have any outcome or label data in that. We want to segment the data based on some features. And now association rule, is it supervised or unsupervised? Again unsupervised. Okay. It is written here descriptive. So once we do the segmentation in clustering, we do the descriptive or each cluster. Let's say example for the k-mean clustering. Was it in your syllabus? K-mean clustering was it? You do the segmentation. You have two clusters. What will you do? You study both the clusters using the descriptive statistics and see the average behavior on the different features for both the clusters and then take an action on that. Or what else you can do? You got to two clusters. Now you can label it. One cluster 1, second cluster 0. Now if you know the difference between these two clusters, you can label it. Now you can build a supervised model after your unsupervised technique so that you can do the future prediction based on now the second model, that is supervised model. Okay. Now, how to identify if your problem is a regression problem or a classification problem? Simple question. Can we say what is how we identify that our problem is a regression problem or a classification problem? Please.
Our outcome variable is continuous and it is a guessing function. It is categorical or other. We have classification type of thing. One or it can be multi-classification.
Multi-class classification.
That is classification.
Yes, it depends on our outcome or target variable. If it is a quantitative variable, then it is regression problem. If it is a categorical type with classes, it can be binary class means having two classes or multi-class classification problem. Okay, you all heard of this scales of measurement. Everyone is aware of that. Okay. So simple. It's a bit confusing. Sometimes people get confused between the interval and ratio. So if we ask what is the basic difference between these two, can you think of that? How will we decide and why is it important? In the whole universe, wherever the data or information exists, that comes under either this or this or this. Only out of these four scales. If you talk about health, if you talk about business, if you talk about space science, anything. So what is the difference between interval and ratio? Both are quantitative. Agree? And what is the difference?
Absolute zero.
Yeah, yes, true zero. Anything else? Anyone wants to add something to it? Do you understand the concept of true zero? What is that?
Like in case of temperature, if we are saying 10 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius, here the like if we say the difference is 10, again in case of 30 and 40, the difference is 10. So we cannot we can't compare here. And when we are saying the difference is 0 degrees Celsius, 0, it doesn't mean that we are saying about 0 degrees Celsius. Like it is not absent here. 0 means it is not like that the thing is not there.
Okay, we can, she's given one example of 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree. We can comment that the temperature is 10 degree more today. But we cannot comment that it's double from yesterday. Why? Because of missing true zero. If for a particular day the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius, we cannot say that particular characteristics temperature is missing. It's there. How we know? It's not working now. Not working? Am I audible? Yes. Okay.
We can use this.
Is it working?
So if for a particular day the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius, we cannot say there is no temperature. How? When you put ice of 0 degrees Celsius on our hand, will you feel cold? Why we are feeling that? That there is a heat transfer. When that heat transfer happens, means there is a temperature difference, because there is a temperature. You cannot say there is no temperature. There is temperature. So in this, you cannot do nominal, you cannot do any calculation on that. Plus, minus, multiplication. Let's say if we take example of gender, we cannot do a plus minus. We cannot say men are 1.3 times of women if we don't have any other information with us. We cannot do any mathematical treatment here. In ordinal scale, you can order it, but you cannot do other further calculations. In interval, you can add or subtract it, but because of absence of 2 0, you cannot do the multiplication and division operations. If we talk about the ratio, can we have an example for ratio? Ratio scale? Which variable will be on ratio scale? Age, okay. What else? Your income? Means if my income is 0 for a particular data set, means that income is absent there. I don't have any income. BMI, okay, but how applicable it is, means having a 0 BMI. But your point is correct that if it is a possibility, then 0 means nothing. Weight was not there, height was not there, like that. Okay. Any other? Distance, okay. Good. Blood pressure, okay. Now, what about the challenges with the data mining? What is scalability? Why scalability is the problem? The data is so volatile, it will keep changing in a small time period. Means, suppose we develop a model today, it may not be useful after 3 months. And suppose we are building a model on a small data set, and we want to scale it for a very huge population. Again, it's a problem. Suppose we have a base of 60 crores of customers and we want to build a model. Somehow, our system is not able to handle that data for the model building. What we will do? We will take a sample from that, for example, 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs. Sometimes it may happen that our model is working on that data set. It was working fine in the training and testing and validation, but maybe after applying into the huge population, our misclassification rate may increase. Now, dimensionality, we already talked about it. Why is it a challenge? Complex and heterogeneous data, we talked about it. Data quality again. So before doing any analysis or building any model, we need to ensure that data is in good quality in terms of missing value, garbage value, outliers and other stuffs. Data ownership and distribution. This we also discussed that suppose we are working for a ministry, they have different departments, or if you talk about building any model that involves more than one department, then having the data that particular department is having, it's a bit challenging. Even in the same organization, it's difficult to take the data from some other department. Similar to our research institute or university. Suppose you need data from some other researchers or some other labs. It's difficult to take the data. So that ownership and distribution problem we may face. Privacy preservation. Again, that's a clause. Streaming data, why is it a challenge? What was challenge with that streaming data? Velocity and volume both, correct? Now, potential applications, retail and marketing. Can we think of some scenario in retail and marketing of data mining? During the session, we have taken so many examples of business, retail, and marketing.
So we can observe the frequency, what that particular age group is buying. That's why we can implement in our business.
Correct, correct. Okay. I think we are. Okay. Do we have time?
No, we just put a prepared question answer, then we will wind up.
So in banking, we have seen so many use cases. We have talked about so many use cases in banking industry, in finance industry, insurance and healthcare. So you have heard about actuarial sciences. Actuaries, you have heard about it. People who make the policies, who does analytics for insurance companies. Means what should be the optimum premium and what should be the other conditions, because again the insurance company wants to increase their revenue. Again, the transportation, it can be an optimization problem in transportation. In medicine, it can be there. We want to see the effect of a particular drug, whether it is efficient for a particular disease or not, or identifying a stage of cancer. Suppose you have X-ray, CT scans and MRI for a particular customer, and you want to check what is the probability that that particular customer will belong to the stage 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 like that. We can build, and what model will be there? Will it be supervised or unsupervised? We have the target variable of stage of the cancer, stage 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to build a model. Yeah, it will be a supervised. Will it be a classification problem or regression problem? It will be a classification problem because our target variable is having categories, basically classes. Bioinformatics, we do lot of gene sequence analysis, DNA analysis, and gene mutation analysis. Again, those data is very huge in volume. So there is a huge application of clustering. I'm not sure if you study the block clustering and byte clustering. So those are the advanced technique of the clustering that most of the time used in bioinformatics field. And there are other algorithms as well. Those are being used in bioinformatics. So I think for today it's this is all from my side. And any question on that today's session?
We have 15 minutes for question answer.
Yeah, please.
I had question regarding the types of machine learning. You described about supervised, unsupervised, and third one was reinforced.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
In supervised, we learned that there is some person or something who supervises the whole process. Like in supervised classification for land use and land cover, we provide samples. Like this one should be for vegetation, and this one should be for mountainous region, and this should be for soil. So on the basis of the given samples, the server or the software classifies it, the bulk of data. Like we provide the sample, and on the basis of it, it processes the whole data. And in unsupervised, it has some software that automatically classifies it. So, sir, how it is different?
Okay, it will not classify. The thing is, when you are talking about supervised learning, you will supply your outcome variable as well. In this problem, for example, your target variable was for what this particular land is. So that is your outcome variable. First one was, category was that agriculture.
We can take
Agriculture, then second.
the desert soil or soil something.
Okay, so there are, suppose there are three categories and you are supplying this outcome variable into your model and asking the model to train the data so that we can get a probability for each land that particular class it will belong, like that. But in unsupervised, what will you do? You don't have any segregation in your mind. Okay, you will remove this variable from there.
We just give the input.
You just give all the features in that, and suppose you are for, let's say example, for the k-mean clustering, you are giving the value of k is equals to out is different. So in out is different. So in unsupervised, we are not giving any outcome variable, means particular land is falling into this category. Like that. Any other question? Any question? There are two conditions. Either you have understood everything or nothing at all, or thinking of going outside. I think first semester they just done with their examination and they are in the party mode like that. So they were planning something else. I said, yeah. Any question? Even it is a very simple question, that is fine. Any doubt? I think they have understood everything. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? You should be talkative. Okay, if there is no question, we can wrap it up today. But yeah, we have to also. Thank you, Dr. Prashant, for your very insightful and thought-provoking talk. I think they have. I am sure they have learned a lot, and we are also looking for some hands-on tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, that would be very interesting. Okay, how do you like the session? Yes. Okay, so I hope everyone has enjoyed the talk and properly utilized his time, our time, Asata's time, IIPS building, and every money we are spending on it. Okay. I have seen some people are a little bit less concentrated, like their minds are not there. So I would request you, whenever we organize such kind of event, there are a lot of efforts in the backside. Everyone has so less time, very occupied, and then IIPS is spending money. So we want that every minute should be utilized, not misutilized. And I will be very happy that all of you are learning and upgrading and skilling yourself, and tomorrow we can be very proud of you. Right. So, and at the very beginning I told you, we are very proud IIPsian. Because once you come to IIPS, just before coming to IIPS and after being in IIPS, there is a lot of change. You will not realize now, but at the end of your coursework you will learn. You will understand it. Okay. So please be attentive for tomorrow also. There should be 100% attendance tomorrow as well. No censoring. Okay. And yeah. Okay. So
everyone off the computer before leaving.
yeah, please switch off your computer, and we can go for a group picture outside for the newsletter or for media. Okay, thank you once again, Prashant, for giving the talk. Thank you.
And everyone will come outside.
Suraj,
Bye.
मैंने अटेंडेंस पे साइन नहीं किया।
मेरा भी है भाई।